Where did the franchise format originate from, and how has it fundamentally changed the approach to entrepreneurship? That's exactly what I want to talk about today. To understand how this concept developed and how it has reached what we have today. Hello everyone, my name is Anton Vasilenko. I'm 32. I am the CEO and co-founder of the True Gamers brand network, as well as the owner of 4 successful brands. I have opened more than 450 establishments that serve 600,000 clients monthly in 130 cities worldwide. I have projects that annually make it into Forbes rankings and other business publications. My team and I promote concepts that blow people's minds all over the world. For example, we recently presented the concept of an esports island in Abu Dhabi. I have gone through these stages from choosing a niche to entering the global market. And what's more, I'm doing all this right now in real time. On this channel, I will talk about business, trends, entrepreneurial approaches, and share my vision on how to build successful companies. Perhaps my words will change your perspective on business, on your team, or even on yourself. The first forms of business models similar to franchising appeared as early as the Middle Ages. For example, in ancient Rome, trading rights for certain goods or services were granted. Trade agreements allowed merchants or craftsmen to sell products on behalf of the state or a large manufacturer. The modern franchise in its familiar form began to develop at the end of the 19th century. At that time, large manufacturers began to look for ways to expand their product market without directly opening new stores. The idea of transferring business rights in exchange for royalties started to gain popularity. One of the first practical examples was the Zinker company. It began selling the rights to sell its sewing machines through dealers. And this was the first franchise, and with this, it immediately captured the market in the USA and worldwide. Its model already had features of a classic franchise, such as the use of brand and technology, responsibility for local business management, and profit sharing. All these are classic indicators of franchising, but the real boom, franchising came to the United States of America in the first half of the 20th century. Many businesses began to use this model for rapid growth. For example, Root Beer became the first fast food restaurant chain in the USA to start selling franchises. In 1919, it offered entrepreneurs the opportunity to sell its drinks in exchange for a share of the profits. And in the 1920s, the Howard Johnson chain of restaurants and motels became one of the first major companies to create a franchising network for its services across America. After World War II, franchising became a cool way to expand businesses during the economic boom. This was especially true for fast food restaurants. And the most striking example is, of course, McDonald's. In the 1940s, 50s, McDonald's made franchising popular and the foundation of its business. When Ray Kroc joined McDonald's, in 1954, he changed the approach to franchising. He focused on quality standards, equipment systems, and strict adherence to corporate principles. His idea was simple: to provide a franchise with a ready-made business system. This helped each restaurant operate under uniform standards. This became the secret to turning McDonald's into a global giant. By the way, there's a movie about McDonald's. It's an excellent film called The Founder. I recommend it to everyone. Meanwhile, Dunkin' Donuts and 7-Eleven also actively used franchising for their expansion during this period. Franchising is now not just another trend, it's one of the most stable and growing business segments in the world. Imagine, the global franchise market is valued at trillions of dollars and grows by 4 to 5% annually. Of course, this varies in different countries and with different levels of franchising popularity. For example, in the USA, franchises make up more than 10% of the entire retail business. While in the UK or Austria, it fluctuates around 7 to 8%. This is explained by the high trust in already proven business models and the desire of investors to reduce risks. In countries like India and China, franchising is also becoming increasingly popular, especially in the areas of food and commerce, where entrepreneurs want to invest and develop businesses using a proven model. In general, franchises now cover almost all industries. The largest growth is in fast food restaurants, which account for 35% of all franchises. Retail networks account for 25%, consulting and education for 15%, and healthcare and fitness for 7%. That is, in practically every industry has its own successful examples of franchises. By the way, if you thought that only the managing company is responsible for a franchise, That's not the case. Different countries have their own rules, laws, and organizations that regulate franchising. For example, the International Franchise Association is an organization that has developed global standards to help franchisors and franchisees operate according to the rules. It does not inspect every franchise, but it teaches how to conduct business properly. And they organize conferences where experiences are shared. Another organization, the European Franchise Federation, helps make franchises transparent and safe for those operating in Europe. In America, there is a specific law that requires franchisors to disclose all information about their business, risks, and income from franchise sales. So, if you want to buy a franchise in the USA, you will receive a full set of documents with a complete description of the business. It's like a book that explains what and how things will work, how much needs to be invested, and what problems might arise. The European Union has also created guidelines for franchises to ensure everything is transparent and fair. However, each country in the European Union can have its own additional laws to protect the rights of people who buy a franchise. In the CIS countries, there is currently no separate law for franchises, but there are laws that regulate business, such as consumer protection or antitrust laws. In any case, if you want to operate a franchise, you must comply with these rules. I would take these laws and regulations seriously. Regulatory bodies can influence the closure of your business in case of a mistake. In the USA, for example, a franchisor is required to register their franchise with a government body before they start selling it. They must provide all the data about their company, its financial condition, risks, and other details. This helps to avoid fraud and makes the process transparent. In some countries, regular inspections are conducted to ensure that the franchise complies with all standards. For example, in the USA or Europe, they may inspect the franchisor to ensure they are not breaking the law or not deceiving their franchisees. Inspections are not often, but they do occur. But if a franchisee feels deceived or the contract terms are not fulfilled, they can complain to the regulatory authorities. Large franchises such as McDonald's or Starbucks regularly check how their franchisees are operating. This ensures for them that the quality service standards are always the same at every location. If a franchisee does not follow the rules, the franchisor can penalize them or even close that location. In many countries, there are laws that protect those who purchase franchises. This is important to prevent fraud and unfair conditions. The laws do not allow franchisors to impose excessively expensive or unfair terms. For example, they cannot force franchisees to pay for unnecessary services or fail to disclose all important business details. Franchisors, they often protect their brands and intellectual property. This protects franchisors from franchisees misusing the brand or to prevent counterfeiting. Therefore, now a franchise is not just a business model, but a global ecosystem that includes innovative solutions, technologies, flexibility, and minimal risks for the entrepreneur. It is a path for those who want to start a business with an already proven concept, scale it, and enter the international market. And to conclude the episode, I would like to ask you, please write whether you have had any experience purchasing a franchise and whether this market scares you or not. And this model in general of business development. I will continue to share my thoughts, ideas, and address your questions on this channel. This was Anton Vasilenko with you. See you next time.